Hello.
Hi, Will.
Hello.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Shelley. Hi, Will.
Will, I'll go ahead and make you host.
Okay.
All right, Will, you're all set.
Appreciate it.
All right, have a good night.
You too.
Will, are you in Texas?
No, I got back on Sunday, but I was there for about a week and a half.
You
It's
get
supposed to be-
stranded?
Well, I went down for my mom's birthday and Easter.
Yeah.
And then I went to go visit my dad while I was there. And apparently the day after that, or the day I was there, when we were leaving, my stepsister was feeling sick. And then they went and got her COVID test the next day. And apparently she did have COVID. So then luckily I've already had both my vaccines. So
Yeah.
I had to quarantine for a week and then got the all clear to fly back. But
Wow.
it was a week.
Yeah, it's the real deal. I mean,
Yeah.
people are still coming down with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's Logan, and I'll get on here.
Hey, guys.
Hey, all good to see you.
Hello.
Good to see ya.
I did
get a quorum.
I got an email from Joe that said he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah, Joe's doing
One
that
other person, I don't remember who it was.
City
I think
attorney
Marissa,
and then
Marissa said she wasn't gonna be here.
Marissa,
Yeah, Marissa, that's who it was.
and I haven't heard anything from Raphael yet. So I don't know if she's here or not, will be here or not.
Hi, Rachel.
All right, so
Hey guys.
Hi, Rachel. Good to see you.
Rachel, you're not in your car.
No, I'm remote. I don't even see my car but once a week now. Actually, one of my old coworkers just went over to city of Englewood.
Oh, really?
She's in the water department. She's an engineer.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Michael, Bob, I gotta hop off at 7:30 tonight, just FYI.
Hopefully we'll be done by then.
Cool.
Bob will race us through.
Yeah. Oh, I think we've got a quorum.
We
It's
do.
like- Let's,
I think so.
that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6, doesn't it? Or 7. Does Shelley need to do the roll call or can we do that?
We can do it if we just want to go around and say our names. That should cover it.
Michael Chisholm here.
Rachel Pelliot here.
Logan Dunning here.
Bob Stephenson here.
Will Charles here. I got Cara coming in.
Here comes Kara.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
We're doing the roll call. Whenever you get a second.
Just in time.
Oh, I look like a dark shadow.
Shadow knows.
Well,
Well, I had to
you're
clo-
here
I
as
had-
well.
I had to close all my windows. Otherwise, I look like Kara.
Let's try that.
That'll help.
Oh, well, not a whole lot better.
A little better.
Good to have you. That definitely gives us a quorum. Did anybody look at the minutes of the last meeting? I didn't see anything that was out of order. So I would entertain a motion to accept them as presented,
So moved.
unless somebody says nay. Need a second now.
I don't think I
I can second. I don't know if I was there at the last meeting, but so maybe I can't.
All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
I
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried unanimously. The first item on the agenda is to continue the discussion of the pollinator garden and stuff. And I wanted to give Mike a chance to just explain what our relationship is with KAB, Keep America Beautiful, for those of you who are new. And so Mike, why don't you go ahead, because we're trying to utilize that volunteer portal and we have a grant from them. And so Mike, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I had this discussion with Logan the other day, and I'll just try to recap it. I mean, I think Logan was asking the question that some of us have asked of ourselves: what is our relationship, or what's our history? And Will chime in if I'm getting it wrong or, miss a point. But in a real quick nutshell, Keep America Beautiful and Keep Englewood Beautiful, I think historically, we're always on the same page. And Keep America Beautiful is a national program and works with groups like us in Englewood. Apparently, we left our relationship kind of ran out of steam a couple years ago. We got behind in our dues, and we were just sort of friendly, but we didn't have any relationship or communications with them. We attempted to get involved. I talked to Jason Smith, and basically we said, let's resurrect the relationship. Will got the dues paid, so we are dues paying members of Keep America Beautiful now. And I started to discover, and all of us started to discover, there's resources there that are pretty cool, such as grant money. And it was Jason Smith who said, hey, do you want a grant? We said, yeah. And that's how we got that grant money about a year ago. It was short and sweet, but it demonstrated there's a value to being involved with Keep America Beautiful. I think it's important to realize that we are part of them, and that's not all good or bad, but it's sort of a responsibility and an affiliation. In the conversations with Jason Smith, who's our regional point person director, it became clear that Keep America Beautiful really wants more and more people to use the web portal, which means that's a KAB program. And Jason Smith has been real easy to work with. And he is cheering us on, hoping we can make better use of the portal because that demonstrates the value that the national organization brings to the affiliates. So there's some real good things about that. Where we are today, and Logan can speak in a little bit better detail, we're looking at that portal and we're just trying to evaluate it, ascertain, is it something we could or should be using? And how do we understand it and where do we go from here? So I'd say, again, in closing, we've been affiliated with Keep America Beautiful in the past, and we're trying to become better affiliates as we go forward in terms of plugging into their resources. And they have national days, cleanup days, et cetera, that we can plug into here in Englewood if we so desire. There's no obligation for us, but there are some advantages for us connecting. So I think the relationship is blossoming, or we're exploring it. And I think right now everyone's wanting to be closer to the national organization. So Will, have I missed anything, or is there something you know that I don't know, or fill it in?
Nope, that covers it as far as anything I would say about it.
Okay, good.
Yep. Good job. Which brings us back to the pollinator garden. We passed a motion last time to use some of that grant money, which is actually now part of the community development budget. And what happened is the planner, the person who is working on the project, not just the pollinator garden, but the natural area that the grass area that they want to convert into natural grass area is had to get started last month. He lives in Grand Junction, and he was coming over on that the last Thursday of March. And so they wanted to get him paid. Dana wanted to get him paid, and and there was no way that we were going to do it with needing the supplemental appropriation and stuff. So Park stepped in, they found some money, got some money. So at least the master plan is going forward. And now we are in the process of submitting the request for the supplemental appropriation in this year's budget, and that should be coming up before council fairly soon, I would guess. Will, you probably know more, but I would say within the next couple of meetings, that's going to be on their agenda. And it's something that they want to do. So we are off the hook as far as, all of the, whether we could pay a consultant and all of that. So we may still, as part of the ongoing thing, pay him for some educational things or something like that. I don't know. We'll see where that ends up. But I know Dana is talking about some educational signs, and she's starting to look into that. She's had some, she's been working on the garden itself. The parks have already got the plants ordered. I don't know when they'll be delivered or whatever for the pollinator garden. So she's working on the garden, and she's had at least one group out there doing some preparation work. And she's really interested in getting volunteers in place and getting teams so that hopefully we have 2 or 3 at least, if not 4 or 5 teams to go over weekly and weed and do some gardening, take care of it. So that's basically where we stand with that. I don't know if you have any more questions or
If I could jump
anything
in
else?
real
Yes.
quick, Bob. So after we got off the phone earlier today, I talked with Nancy in our department, and it turns out actually, I guess we don't have to go to council. I know that's the opposite of what I've told you for the last 2 months.
Really?
That was the impression I had from our previous city attorney, who's no longer there. So
Yeah.
the good news is that means we just have to get approval from the director. So Brad, my director. So that means it's a much faster turnaround than us having to be on any sort of council agenda. So
Great. Well, we were wondering about that, but I had no idea what all the steps were, and it's kind of a gray area. I've never dealt with anything like that, so that's good news. So as soon as, well, I'll get a hold of Dana, and I'll let you know what she thinks her needs are in the next little while, and we can move forward with getting her some money. So great.
Just a question, clarification. It sounds like we can recommend and endorse, and we can request money through the city, through Will's office, and there's some ballpark number that probably we could spend, but it sounds to me, and I'm okay with this, it sounds to me that on a case-by-case basis, we run it up the flagpole, basically run it to Will, and then Will runs it to his department, and they say yes or no. I mean, is that a way of thinking of it?
right, yeah. I mean, really, it's y'all's money. So our department, unless there was something where it felt like a conflict of interest or
Right.
an issue of legality or something like that. Really, that's the only thing. Or if feel like it's going to conflict with the budget or something like that. But
Okay.
I mean, really, those should be the only kind of disqualifiers, I would say.
Then it would be a consensus of our group who says we think this is a good idea, we ought to do it. And
Yeah.
then, okay,
Yeah.
that
Yep.
works. Okay.
I apologize. I have a
Great.
question. I heard Bob say it was going to be before council, and then Will, you said that there's no need
Yeah.
to go up that tree anymore.
Right.
So what are next steps with Dana? Are we going to be in contact with her?
Yeah. So I mean, so Michael, you had sent me a couple of weeks ago that kind of letter, kind of explaining what you guys wanted to, what this money would theoretically kind of go to as far as that.
Right.
It seems like a little of that is probably outdated at this point with
Right.
what they've gotten funding for on different things.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to tweak that maybe, and then I could just take it straight to my director from there.
I think the total was around $1,500, if I remember right. And you're right, Will, some things have changed. I have to say it was confusing talking to Dana, nailing her down with a specific request for a specific thing. And so it made me a little leary.
Right.
Of,
well, and that's
writing
okay.
checks to people,
Yeah, and that's okay. Even if it was revised to something more along the lines of hard costs to include, and then kind of,
Okay.
I think that'll be fine.
Okay. And I'll just modify that and shoot it to you. I could shoot it to everybody just so everybody sees what I'm saying, and people could modify it. But there was some stuff in there for education. The confusing part was she wanted us to pay for some of the consulting dollars on the prairie grass. And I didn't know if that was possible or okay, or were we getting in the middle of something? Tim Holt at the city's working with her, and I trust Tim to determine. I mean, my feeling is I'd rather give the money to Tim than say, Tim, you spend it on consultants or whatever, just because he's he's pretty level-headed, you know. So that's where I didn't know. I mean, I don't think we want to write checks directly, do we?
To Dana.
Yeah, or to her consultant.
So what you guys voted on last month was basically for hard costs and some minor education fees.
yeah.
So I mean, I think probably the way it'll work is, Dana sends us an invoice for it, like ask us if this is okay to spend, and then just sends us an invoice and we pay it out. I think that'll be the easiest way.
Okay. So we'd give you that invoice and then you'd get a check or something?
Yeah. Or I mean, from this point, I mean, like once assuming it gets director's approval and all, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, she should just be able to do that, up to that number. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. And I think we're at the point right now that we will be dealing, at least for the foreseeable future, in some, hands-on hard costs, concrete fixtures or whatever. And then maybe in the fall, once it's established, she may do some more educational type things, and we could probably fund those as long as we understand and have a clear picture of what it's for. We'll just have to see that. And I don't know if they need more plants or whatever, then we could probably oversee that. But it seems to me like once that component of getting the master plan starting to develop and that consultant type thing was put in place, then that kind of clarified our role. And if we don't have to go before council, then we're in great shape then. So I think I think it makes it a lot simpler and straightforward. So
The invoice
hopefully
helps
that's
because
where we're at.
the invoice
Yeah.
will clarify what we're paying for.
Yeah.
And we'll go from the possibility to the specific. So
Yeah.
that's great. I can modify that. And then Will, if I send it to you, can you send it to everybody on the committee just so they see what I wrote? And then they can chime in if they have a concern or an idea. But
Yeah.
it sounds like we're getting a budget approved, and then by invoice we'll submit against that budget.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
Great.
That's good news. And Michael, you have that from Dana already? You're just going to make some edits and then send that to Will?
Yeah, I can get that out tomorrow. And then if Will can just forward it to everybody. Because
Nice.
I think there's just a couple small modifications I would make on it. Is that okay, Will? And then if you'll share it with everybody.
And I'll get in touch with Dana, and if she, has anything that she needs to add to it or whatever, I'll let you know. But we'll get to that point then.
Okay.
And so that pretty much covers the pollinator garden and the depot, and except for the volunteer portal, and Logan and Michael got together and worked on that a little bit. I screwed up and didn't make it, but we have a kind of a picture of it, and I don't know that it's going to work. I was playing with it a little bit just before we started the meeting and trying to even get on. I can get on as a person, but I couldn't see how to get on as a organization or to utilize it for something like volunteering on a weekly basis or something. More updates on it?
Yeah, I can go if that's okay. I spent some time in the portal. Thank you, Bob. I spent some time in the portal last week, over the weekend, and then for a couple hours yesterday, just trying to familiarize myself with the tools at our disposal here. And it looks like, Will, you had done some work in the portal at some point. Is that
Mhm.
accurate? Okay.
Yep.
I saw a couple events back in 2020 that were posted. You know, I see Rachel's name in here. I see Kara's name in here as contacts. So y'all have clearly used this in the past. So I went in and just sort of, like I said, tried to familiarize myself with creating events, adding contacts, and publishing these sort of a test. Sorry if I emailed one of y'all yesterday. That was me messing around. I don't know if that was Rachel or whoever, but trying to publish events on the KAB website for KEB. So if you don't mind, I'll just screen share real quick.
Real quick.
Yeah, what's up?
Are you entering as like an admin role, or are you entering as like an end user? So this is all stuff that like me, Rachel Pelly, a citizen of Englewood, could not go in and do, but you as like a KEB admin person can do. Right?
I'm logging in as a KAB affiliate on
Okay.
behalf of KEB,
Okay.
right? So I worked with Jason. It was probably after our February commission meeting.
Right.
And Bob, this might be what you need, the step that you need to take. He set me up with my login and then approved me to be an affiliate on the back end. I'm not sure if those steps
Yeah.
have been taken on your end.
No, that's what I'm missing. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, the
that's-
only three that are that way are you, Logan, Michael, and myself. I've tried to upgrade Rachel's like multiple times, but it just has a broken request portal access button. So I don't know where
Yeah.
that button goes, but
The sign.
that's
Logan should do this.
I can try. That's sort of that was sort of the name of the game yesterday. It's a little clunky. There's still I still get some errors from time to time, but I just wanted to take a minute to sort of walk y'all through what I was tinkering with yesterday. And then I've set up a test event on the KAB website we can take a look at. And if you sign up, it will then register you as a contact on our affiliate page, which would be helpful for future events and things like that. So this is sort of just the when I log in as an affiliate on KAB, this is the dashboard, which some of y'all might be familiar with already. This is where we would start if we wanted to say we get set up with Dana and we have a volunteer opportunity with her. This is where we would create that event. So I would just click on volunteer opportunities and let me minimize Zoom. And I would go up here to create volunteer opportunity. So it's pretty straightforward. That being said, like I said, it's a little clunky. So I set this volunteer sign up sort of test event up. And so if we started just from ground zero on, let's say, kab.org. So we have this event set up. We have it set up on our back end. Dana is now communicating it to a list of her volunteers, and she's telling them to, hey, go sign up to be a volunteer. Here's a link. You know, we can provide that link on the KEB website if we wanted to. Will, you can nod or yes or no on that. And we can link them to Keep America Beautiful. So once a volunteer comes here, you just click the big volunteer button. I'm praying this works. I'm an affiliate, so it automatically logs me in, but otherwise it would just be this page for a volunteer. You can search by zip code. You can search by keyword, you know, Englewood or Keep Englewood Beautiful, what have you. I'm searching within 50 miles. That's just the default. So find, and it should populate. These are sort of national things going on that are not related to us, but here's the test I've set up. So for a typical volunteer, this would show up. This is what they would be looking for. We could tell them, you know, this is look for this particular event. Select the event, and it just sort of autofills all the details that I had put in on the back end for this particular event. So for tonight's purposes, I set it up for Wednesday, April 14th through Thursday, April 15th. So you can, as a volunteer, you can select either one. If it's over a several day period, et cetera, et cetera. And it's closed right now, but it would say register for this event, done, boom, they get an email with all the information and it's in their inbox. Sounds great. Sounds pretty straightforward. That's sort of where I'm at in terms of event creation. Something I realized with Michael yesterday was that this is great, but say, let me pull y'all back up. Say we have a volunteer list from Dana that we want to stop screen sharing, that we want to input. We have a list here of 15, 20 volunteers. I have not found a way to input those contacts proactively on the KAB page. That doesn't seem possible. They would have to go and sign up for a KEB event through the KAB website, sorry, acronyms. And then I would be able to have their information and email them about future events, et cetera, et cetera. It's reactive, not proactive in terms of volunteer setup and management. That's where I'm at. I'm happy to try and answer any questions you guys might have, but it's a little clunky. It seems a little like it's still being built, you know, this KAB backend, but it's the tools at our expense. I think we can work with it. You know, say Dana gives us a date, a volunteer date, boom, great. We can go in here, create it, and then just funnel all volunteers to the KAB website for this event. That's seems about where we're at. Happy to hear any feedback.
I have a question. So let's say this event happens, a couple of future events happens, we have a list of volunteers. Are we able to like leverage that list for push notifications for future stuff? Like, hey, you volunteered for this in the past. We have an upcoming event. Is that a functionality?
Yeah, good question. And yes, I think once they get in the system, and the KAB calls them connections, volunteers are connections, right? So once they register for an event, they should be in our KEB list of connections, right? Now, it's not, my understanding, Rachel, is it's not that simple, just to hit a button, boom, send out the push notification for a future event. In an ideal world, yes, that would be possible. I'm talking with Jason about trying to navigate that. That's one hang up that I found over the course of tinkering, is that whenever I do go to add connections to an event, I have to do it one by one.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm glad you made that face, because that's sort of the face I made. And that's not efficient for anyone.
Michael, let me share my screen real quick. Let me know if this is the same thing that you've done, because I think you can do. So let me share. All right,
And
so it should be just the regular COVID page,
Yep.
right? Have you been doing this little contacts right here?
Yes.
Because I mean, you can do this export to CSV, and it gives you, once this thing loads.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. And so once it does that, you know, you could take this email address page, you know, and then just copy all those. I mean, I agree, it is still clunky, but you know, we could make it work as far as a way to kind of email everybody as a group.
Thank you, Will. That's actually where I finished watching a resource video today, and that's the conclusion I came to, is we can export CSV, copy paste, send out a mass email for all of our volunteers, right? There's a few extra steps built in there. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have to do that. We could do it all through here, but that's
Right.
where we're at, is those are the tools at our expense. So we can export, pull all the emails, and send all. I think that's the best way to go to do that. And Rachel, that's probably the best answer for your question.
I think you're right, Logan. From what I understand, when I was talking to Tony about it and she took a look at it, that the people needed to register themselves, and once they were registered, then they were available. And I kind of got lost there, but I think, you know, their data is out there, and that's part of the problem Tony had with it is she did not want her whole volunteer list to be accessible to anybody from KAB. And so, you know, and then the clunkiness of it, you know, the best thing that I've heard and what excited Tony about it was it's fairly easy to track number of volunteer hours and stuff once you're actually registered. And that's where she was hopeful, but I don't think it would work out for her. But if we can do it with Dana and with this pollinator garden and start there, I think that's a good starting place. But it sounds to me like we still got some work to do. And I will see what other volunteers Dana has, or, you know, Tim Holt said that he had Meg's group and some others that, you know, and if we can get them to utilize that, then we're in good shape. I mean, and even if it's clunky, if we can help them resolve some of this, you know, we can be the guinea pig, so to speak, I think. But anyway, we'll just keep plugging away.
I'll keep plugging away. I was telling Michael yesterday, happy to take this on and sort of carry this torch and being a guinea pig and figuring this out. I would request a little help just because January through June is my busy season at work. I know we're all busy. We all have busy seasons. This is just sort of crunch time for me this first part of the year. If I could have a 1-2 punch or a partner, someone to help me if we have events, you know, January through May, that would be super helpful. And I'm happy to take that over, you know, June through December or whatever. But
Logan, yeah, this is kind of in my wheelhouse, so I can help you a little bit.
Cool, that'd be great.
Just let me know explicitly what you need from me.
I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
You know, I think others of us can step in if we know a specific thing, but I don't want you overloaded, Logan. And so just let us know if it's getting to that point, or, you know, you're feeling frustrated or whatever, that things aren't going, then, you know, we can work around that, I think. But
no problem.
Yeah,
so
this is.
Does anyone, or Will, was it me, you, and Michael that have affiliate logins?
Yep. That's
Okay.
correct.
And I've lost mine, so you can erase me if you want to take me out.
I don't think that's a function that we have.
Please erase me. Or I can, you know, try to help Rachel and Logan, but
yeah,
somebody would have to go back and I'd have to create a new password or something. But I got confused.
Yeah, I think
that's,
yeah.
But
yeah,
I think I'm happy to email Jason and just say, hey, can you get Michael a new login? Can we get Bob a login?
Yeah.
Rachel a login,
Sure.
And approve that. And Kara, if you're interested, just we can put you in there if we ever are in a crunch. That's probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah. When I got on there tonight, I already had my email registered somehow, but I couldn't remember the password. So I updated the password and I'm in there, I think, as a volunteer now, but I don't know.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
where I am.
I think I told you all to do it when we did that hazardous waste. I think everyone signed up for it through it.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's continue on with this, and as long as we can get some volunteers and keep working with Dana and maybe get some concrete things on that, then I think we're in good shape. Let's see. One other thing before we go to clean up. We did do the worm casting webinar last week. There were about 4 or 5 of us on there. I thought it was great. Can we access that Will, is that recorded or did,
It was. I don't know. I think, yeah, I can talk to Shelly if anyone wants it or anything like that.
That'd be
I
interesting. I
thought
wanted
that
to
might be a
attend.
good resource. And we could have it there and maybe advertise it or something too.
That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get it involved with it all, but I mean, I love the idea of it, and that would certainly help our garden. So then Will, I have seen that it looks like they are going forward with the 4th of July festivities this year at Bellevue again. Is that correct?
You looking into it means you know more than I do. So
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's correct. And if so, that would give us an opportunity the last week in June. And I was just looking at that KAB thing that we could even call it the Great American Cleanup until June 20th. So that may be something that we want to aim for and see if we could get 10 or 12 people down there and work around that kind of wilderness area at Bellevue. I don't know specifically if they're going to have it wide open. It sounds like they're looking at doing that. It sounds like Arapahoe County will be going to green May 16th. So we may need to do some email work or be in contact around that if we want to do it. But what are your feelings? What's your thinking on pursuing that? Anybody?
I think it's a good idea. It gives us another reason to play with the portal and see if that helps. And I think from Jason Smith's point of view, for us to do something that's a KAB endorsed event, I think that would be positive just for our relationship with KAB.
Yeah.
But I'd sure try to get down there depending on the timing or whatever. But
well, I was going to try and get a hold of the parks guys this week, and I didn't get that done, but I think it's a possibility anyway. And I think they would enjoy it because a lot of, they've kind of been on skeleton schedules for the last year, and it might help them out. And if there's another area or something, then, I'd be open to that. But that just, it all kind of came together when I saw that was a possibility, and it sounds like it's a pretty concrete possibility now with the way the vaccinations are going and the way we're loosening up. So let's tentatively look at doing that around the end of June, and we'll firm it up by next month, and then I'll get with either Tony or I'll start with Tony and see about getting some publicity for it and getting us some more volunteers. And like you say, Michael, if we could get that into the volunteer portal and get people in there, I think that would be a good thing.
I have a question, Bob.
Yeah.
On that note, is there any way we could put a link on the City of Englewood KEB website? Can we drop a link to KAB volunteer page? Just some way to funnel folks, a link of some sort to funnel people where they can sign up and register for these events.
Just like
I don't see anything.
Just like a general one for it.
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
How else do we go ahead?
Well, when there's an actual event, what we'll do is on the general KE, or not KE, Englewood webpage. There's like a news section, and so anything that's coming up, it gets put into that news source. Like that's where the worm casting webinar was, and that will have like a link to the volunteer webpage. But we can also just put a general like looking for volunteer opportunities. Click on.
Great.
Yeah, or
That'd be
email
great.
email Logan, or email Michael, Bob, Rachel,
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
Just somewhere somehow to funnel folks in and get them added to a list
Yeah.
of some sort.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got a question. Logan, we talked about sort of follow the dots, because there's 3 or 4 dots to become a contact, a volunteer, or whatever we call ourselves. Do we want to do that, or should we just basically tell people go to KAB, follow the volunteer pathway, use your intuition? I mean, I don't want to dumb it down and offend people, but for people like me, it's like, tell me which dots to follow, because it is cumbersome, and it isn't a smooth, intuitive path to do what we're asking people to do. That's my thought, and I don't know. Do we need to sell it one-on-one? Like, do I go to a neighbor and say, here, follow this checklist and become a volunteer? I mean, what's the best way for us to grow this thing?
Kind of what I was trying to get at with Will is that's where we're at. How do we what can we develop, or can we develop a process or a roadmap? Like you're mentioning, Michael, of just here's how you sign up to be a volunteer for KEB events. I don't know. I'm new here, but I'm not sure if we've just sort of let people come to us in the past through that news section that Will mentioned, or if there have been steps taken to
Well, yeah, and it's only been the last, maybe 3 years that Tony has kind of pulled all of the volunteers in under her umbrella, because it used to be that was, it was only KAB or KEB volunteers, and we just would attract them. And the best cleanup, the best volunteer event that we had was when Randy Penn was the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and we had a cleanup down there at Bellevue. This was probably 7-8 years ago, and we probably had 40 people come, but we never got any of the contact information, because most of them came through the Chamber of Commerce and stuff, and Randy and whatever. So and now Tony has pulled all of that under her, and I think I just want to be a little careful about just setting something up. I think we're going to have to work with Tony and see how it can work with her. And I know she wants to do it, and I know she just wants to be aware of where all the volunteers are going and where they're coming from. And so she has a list on her thing too. So anyway, I will coordinate with her. But I think you're exactly right, Logan. We need a way that people, especially in this day and age, can get on even the city website, and maybe we need a key on the main page of the city, how a volunteer for city events or whatever, and then specifically list other things, but especially for us, KEB, and cleanups and things like that, and gardening and all of that. Yeah.
I know the city did just do a revamp of the website. And I haven't been on recently, but I don't know where our link is. But also another committee I'm on, we try to get an article in the quarterly Englewood magazine every quarter
Mhm.
for, it's for the code enforcement, but I know like Parks and Rec does stuff too. So it might be worth
Yeah.
reaching out to the group that manages the magazine and see if it's possible to just get like a tiny ad on one of the pages for volunteers, or something, you know, if we know
Yeah.
what events or volunteer opportunities we have coming up for the next quarter, to maybe even get like half a page to advertise or get it somehow added to the calendar, for Englewood. It's a great magazine. There's lots of useful information
Yeah.
in there about everything to
Agreed.
do with Englewood. And it seems odd that we wouldn't have, you know, something for this kind of stuff in there already. So I don't know who we need to talk to about getting in touch, you know, with the right groups to be able to do stuff like that. But I think that would be really beneficial.
Second.
Yeah. And I think there is, I know there has been specific volunteer things and event notifications and stuff. But I think your point is well taken that we should have in every issue, whatever's happening that people can volunteer for the next quarter. I think that should be a given. I'm not sure that it is, but it should be.
Yeah, definitely. And then I know like Nextdoor posts a bunch of stuff, and I think that's who you're referring to, with Tony and the posting that goes on Nextdoor. But I've seen like a few other events that I'm not sure who organizes them, but I think Parks and Rec honestly does a lot of stuff. They just did like a tree sale. I think
Yeah.
there's something else going on with gardening, and it seems like we should fit in pretty well to some of this stuff that's already, you know, out there that different groups are already doing for the city. So
Mhm.
And I think there's, speaking of that, I need to check on something else that just came to mind. The wastewater plant usually does that Platte River event. I don't know if they're planning that or if that's still even going on. But that was a
They
big
are.
deal for us.
They are.
Did-
They're doing it different this year, though. It's like a
Yeah,
kind of choose your own adventure kind of style more than their usual. It's over like a 2-week time period.
yeah, I think I saw something like that. Maybe that was in the Citizen. Now that you mention it, it jogs my memory, which probably needs a jolt now and again. Yeah,
Can we get, I'm throwing it out there. Here's an idea. Can we get some swag or something? I just feel like we're competing with all of these other events, and we have stuff with words like hazardous waste, you know, and leaf recycling, which I attended last year and is not at all sexy. You know what I mean? Just something to like, I don't know, distinguish ourselves, bribe people.
It's a good point.
yeah,
No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just throwing.
I mean, we have in the past, and we can again.
I'll make
Yeah, I mean,
weed like. Just,
yeah, I mean, like in the past, we've done shirts one year. We did water bottles, which I think I still have like 100 of. So,
that's something.
yeah. So,
yeah. Well, we've got a couple of 3 things coming up and some good ideas floating around. We're getting so darn close to summer, and it's been so up in the air. It's hard to nail anything down, but if nothing else, if we can continue with the pollinator garden and then work in a cleanup, and then our hazardous waste and leaf recycling, and And then keep pushing for single trash pickup, trash purveyor or whatever, single purveyor trash. And hopefully next month, Joe will be able to be here and we can continue that. And I will be in touch through email, probably through you, Will, or Shelley, or somebody, just so that we keep abreast of what's going on and what's happening.
So for clarification, just, and I'm thinking of the portal as a potential way of keeping us focused on a path. So in
Right.
the short run, we're all going to try to become volunteers on the portal, correct?
Yes.
Is that something we all want to do or not do? What do you think, Rachel? You were
Well, I did check because I think when they were showing
yes.
it, like I saw my name on there.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, okay, so I think I'm a volunteer or I'm a contact or something. But if all of us try to get on there, Logan gets answers to his immediate questions, then maybe we could talk to Dana about using the portal to help her. So am I okay thinking that way? That's the immediate focus. And then Bob, those other events, which I think are all good ideas, maybe we could use the portal to communicate those ideas. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's a good.
Was to kind of like create events to help get people to go to the volunteer portal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the idea.
Well, I was thinking too, if we got comfortable with it, I mean, we could say, if you go on the portal, we'll give you a t-shirt or something.
Yeah.
You know,
A water bottle.
A water bottle. Thanks for being an Englewood volunteer. But
Well, that's what we
anyways.
tried. That's what we tried with the hazardous waste for the, waiving fees, and it worked. But yeah, I mean, it's the same problem. There's no way for them to like just say, "Hey, I want to be notified."
Right.
It seems like a misstep in the whole thing.
That's why that portal's, if we could progressively communicate over the portal, here's what we're up to, here's where we need volunteers, here's what's happening next quarter, that would be a huge step. I'd rather communicate with 20 interested people than 2,000 disinterested people. And it may be 20 people we're talking about. I don't know.
Right.
I think it'll be a concerted effort. I like Kara's idea too. Like we should get in the quarterly. I know I read that. I think it's very interesting. And
every time it comes. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's a tree we should bark up. I'll keep working on the portal here. I'll get try and get Rachel her admin access. And Michael, I have an email on here for you. I don't think it's your recent one, but I'll just call you after and see if I can get you set up on there.
I have my my Yahoo is my old email, and I think I ended up using that one to get on the KAB thing because my other one didn't work, and I don't know why.
It's linked to your I won't take you too much of your side, but it's your chisholm@mmg.com or something.
That's my good one.
Yeah, that's the one it's linked to.
Oh, okay, then that's great. Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, I will try to reach out. My neighbor's in contact with the copywriter for the magazine pretty frequently for the code enforcement committee. So I'll try to get her contacts and see if we can start a conversation with them about getting some of our stuff included in the magazine and what that process looks like. So
cool.
Hey, if you will just stay in contact with me on that or with Will, either one, so that we're all in the loop, then I think we're in good shape on that.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Good show.
Okay. Anything else? I'll get you out of here, Logan. If you want to move to dismiss us.
Yes, I will move to adjourn tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Logan.
I heard a silent Rachel second.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. Thanks, you guys.
Okay,
Thanks,
great.
y'all.
Appreciate it. Good meeting. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Okay, guys.